This was easily the most exciting Grand Prix that I've seen. I had said after the whole Max Lando dust up, I was like, the Brits are going to be out next week. And I had no idea like how much the Brits were going to be out and show up. But he is still the goatiest of the goats. That it does look like it's going to be relatively exciting. But the name, just plain old F1. Hey good people, it's Kia coming back at ya. This has been the longest of days, but I had to get this video done today. So I just wanted to come really briefly to come and talk about the British Grand Prix. This was easily the most exciting Grand Prix. Okay, first of all, I'm a newbie, so I've only seen this season. But of all of the races this season, this was easily the most exciting Grand Prix that I've seen. And not just because of the outcome, just because of all the trauma and emotion and feeling that went into the weekend. And this is even including the Grand Prix that I actually attended in person, which was Miami. Now, that was exciting because I was there, but I don't necessarily think it was exciting in terms of like the drama that played out on track. Although it was great, Lando had his win and that was amazing. Um, but this, in terms of quality, you had your British stack out, George, Lewis, and Lando, which was really nice. I mean, I was super excited. You would think I was British. And I am super American. Well, actually, there's a large percentage of my genetics that are, in fact, UK based, but that's a story for another day because that's the story of many African Americans who have many generations in the soil. But yeah, and it was so funny because in my last video, I had said after the whole Max Lando dust up, I was like, the Brits are going to be out next week. And I had no idea like how much the Brits were going to be out and show up, but the quality was dope. Okay, before we even get into the race, they did preview the F1 movie, which look okay in terms of actual action, in terms of how fast you experience the cars in the film and all of that. It does look like it's going to be relatively exciting, but the name, just plain old F1. That's that's all they could come up with. And listen, I'm no ageist because I'm old, myself. But you know, Brad is literally almost 60. He couldn't just produce the film. He couldn't put like a, I mean, whatever. Um, but it looks like it's going to be interesting. Of course, I'm going to see it. But it was funny. Just the whole fanfare around that made me laugh. Okay, so let's get to the race. Congratulations, finally, to Lewis. It's funny because I had bought Masterclass. And if you're familiar with Masterclass, it has literally classes from all these people who are like masters in their field. And I bought Masterclass because of Lewis. Lewis had done one on mindset. And I was like, well, if he's got 7 world championships, I need to get some mindset tips and strategies from him. And I mean, to be frank, he doesn't reveal a lot of his process in the masterclass. Like what you really want to know, like, I do this meditation, or I listen to this music, or this is the order that I do it in, or he doesn't reveal any of that. He just says, he has a process before he hits his races and stuff. And to be fair, I mean, he did speak about today, when he won, how how low he had felt and how he felt like he was the bottom of the barrel, and he wondered did he still have it, like all the normal things that I think all of us encounter day to day, when things are not going your way, and when things are not going your way for us like a long period of time, whether that be in relationships or in business, or just in life in general, in dating. You just start to wonder, like, is this not meant for me? Or, like, has this season already, passed me? Or, yeah, it just, I liked that he was that transparent about his struggle because it was very inspirational for me. Like I've encountered a lot of upheaval in my own life, primarily like in work, like going from job to job. And, not that I haven't been successful on the jobs, but just having to go from job to job because in the startup world, it's very boom and bust. It's very like the gold rush, like you hit one and then it's like a gold rush and you make money and then the thing goes bust. And so I've experienced that numerous times. Um, and it's frustrating because you just want, in your career, you just want there to be like this steady trajectory. And like, obviously, that's what Lewis wanted. He was trying to get that eighth championship. And even though he's just got so many records, but it just seemed like, Max was like gaining on his records and he was never going to win again. And then a lot of it is just out of your control, too, right? Like the car, all the engineering piece, you just have to kind of trust that people have your best interests at heart. So to see that he was able to stay focused, never give up, and just head down and get to work. His win today, was just so, yeah, I think it was just like evidence of the fact that, no, he has not lost a step at 39 years old, which is still very young. That his experience, really does trump everything else when he's in the right car. And that I think the biggest thing that, made people like root and cheer for him because everyone was crying, like men, women alike, teary eyed, sobbing, because you could just, he's so transparent about his feelings, in that moment. And how could you not, rejoice with him, and not just rejoice, but like cry with him, rejoice with those who rejoice. We cry with those who cry. We do both at the same time. It was a great, great, great moment to see like his father, who, has probably just been in his ear for the last, 2 years, just like, keep your head down, stay focused, keep working, a drought season, we hope it's like a drought day or, a drought week, maybe a drought month. We, don't really look for drought years. I mean, years. But they happen. They happen in every life. You have drought years. And so, kudos to him. That was a wonderful moment, for fans all around the world, people who are not even, Lewis Hamilton fans. They don't like, what he represents off track. They hate his fashion. They hate this, they hate that. Even them, even his enemies had to rejoice with him today. So that was just amazing. Also, kudos to George for being the first person, to come over and congratulate him. And, that was sad for George that his car failed, in the middle of the race. That was wonderful that he landed his pole, and sucks that at his home race his car died. But at least he can be encouraged that, he's got lots more chances to win because Mercedes definitely looks like they're coming back. It does make me slightly worried for what's happening over at Ferrari, since I'm about to have to put down my Mercedes paraphernalia and pick up some Ferrari paraphernalia. Hopefully they can get themselves together before Lewis comes over there, because he might get over there and be in a building year, but it is what it is. Just the fact that he was so conscious about the fact that this was going to be his last time with Mercedes at Silverstone, and that he just gave props and kudos to his team. He's very conscientious. Like, he thinks about everybody, all the moving parts, all the pieces of the puzzle. He doesn't leave anybody out. He makes everyone feel included, and that's the mastery of Lewis. He's always on the impression of increase. He's always on increasing life. He's always on like including people and not leaving anyone behind. And that's what makes people favorably disposed towards him, even when they don't like him. Like, even when they don't like him, they can't resist him because he is that way. And so I appreciated that about him. And I also appreciated that early on in the race, Lewis was working very hard to defend George against the attacks from behind, which was Lando and Max. He was definitely playing that team game, but when he saw that opportunity to jump, he did. And the other thing, when his team wanted to bring him in to change the tires, and Lewis was like, no, it's still dry. That's the experience, right? That's years of experience, because like a younger, more inexperienced driver would have just been like, okay, well, they said come in, I'm gonna come in. There's no way he would have won that race if he had gone in and changed tires at the time that they called him in. And so, you could dig deep into that and wonder about motivations for why the call was even made, but who cares? He won, and I think everybody at the end of the day was very happy that he did. I felt bad for Lando because he was very hard on himself at the end of the race. I mean, in fairness, the race was there for the taking when he and Piastri were at 1 and 2. But they had some bad strategy, and Lando said himself he made some bad choices or what have you. But I think I guess like all of them, he internalizes. Well, not all of them. There are a couple drivers who like to blame everyone but themselves. But Lando particularly internalizes a lot of his mistakes or team mistakes or whatever the case may be. But like one of the commentators said to Lando, he'll get there. Like, he just needs to stay focused. Yeah, I really I mean, I could talk about other folks in the race, but for what? This was Lewis's day. This was Lewis's day. This was Lewis's. I don't know if it was like a comeback moment, but God gives you what you need when you need it. And in this race, in this place, in this time, was what he needed, and he met the moment. And the blessing was there. So kudos to Lewis. Could not have happened to a better driver. He is still the goatiest of the goats, and I'm glad that he's still able to add to his legacy and seal that for time immemorial. So that's all I have on this race. I will be back for the next one. Hope you all are well. Peace.